Coolidge. Yeah. Dream it, build it, fly it, pilot savvy. Dream it, build it, fly it, pilot savvy. Get down. Dream it, build it, fly it. Oh, oh yeah. Get down.
Hello and thank you for tuning in to Pilot Savvy video. My name is Chris, owner of Pilot Savvy. I'd like to thank you for joining me for this cross-country flight that we're about to take. Going to take off out of Montgomery, Ville, KMYF, San Diego, and we're going to land at Deming Municipal. That's KDMN, and that is a 4 long flight. 483-mile flight, and that's KDMN, and that's going to be the first of several legs on the way to Sun and Fun in Lakeland, Central Florida. So in this flight, it's going to have some pretty scenic route. I'm in a X-plane Diamond DA-50 aircraft, and we're going to cruise at 15,500 feet going east, and estimated time in route, it depends on the winds and so forth. I have real-time information plugged in. It can take anywhere from 3.5 to 4 hours or so. I'm estimating more like 3.5 hours or so. Should book along pretty quick. So I've had the aircraft started up already to kind of save some time. Let me show you the map on where we're going to be. Give me a minute. Okay, so you should have a pretty good view of this Navigraph map. I'm going to use that to kind of follow along, and also have a G1000 suite, and it has a movie map also. We're going to use this to kind of make sure we're on path, and I'll explain where we are along the way. So this is Montgomery on the left, KMYF, and we're going over to KDMN. That's in the Albuquerque area, and it's going to be quite a scenic flight. Hope you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get started. Strobe lights on. So this is a tower airport, but we're not talking to anyone today. The purpose of this flight is just kind of work the cobwebs out. It's been a while since I've flown across country, and so gonna go ahead and hit the taxiway lights, and cowl flaps closed for the engine to warm up. I'm gonna go ahead and taxi over to runway 28 left for this departure. We're going to do a left downwind departure. Okay, I'm going to release the brakes. Got to tweak that throttle a little bit more. It's quite sensitive. Like right now, you saw I released the brakes and I gave it a little throttle, and it kind of really revved up there. RPM is 980. That's all we idle, back to idle. Alright, so now, oh, that wasn't good. So I mentioned in the previous video how I was having problems with my brakes, rudder pedal brakes. Still having a problem, and that's kind of what's going on here. And I'm going to try to work it to our advantage. And because of the problems that I'm having, we're going to stop here. Normally I would not stop here. I would actually stop off on the right side. Okay, and now back to the main screen. Okay, PDOT heat as required. Why not? Emergency fuel pump on. Alternate static source, that would be under here. I don't have that installed, but that's something I'm going to add later. As part of what I do is upgrade sims. FedEx auto. Yep, still auto. Okay, lights as required. So, and that's that lights, camera, and action. So what I would normally do here is I would actually key the mic and contact tower. But we're not gonna talk to anyone today. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and activate this leg here on the flight plan. I see some quirky things going on with my with the sim. I see lights blinking. I hope everything is okay. I'm gonna go here, just the main screen, and disconnect the other. Alright, so let's go ahead and alright, got a little issue. So I disconnected one of my cameras. Alright, so I'm gonna do this here. I got something going on that I want to head off. So you know where we're going already. I don't think we're gonna need, I'm just gonna remove everything that we don't currently need. There we go. Seems to be kind of stabilizing. Before we go, before we get too far, I'm going to turn off I'm going to recycle the G1000 MFD because it don't look like it was hung. So I'm going to troubleshoot that, and normal part of flying, you do come across these things. So what's happening here is my buttons are not responding. I did get a flicker, so that tells me that that is a issue with the USB. I'm going to troubleshoot that issue. I think I have a solution for it. There we go. So I'll go back to my flight plan, and now I should be able to proceed. Keep my checklists in hand. Yeah, it's one of the common things with flight simulators. There's so much going on with so many USB connections made for all the buttons, switches, and other things. It's a lot of use on the USB, and so it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon to have some issues with the USBs, being intermittent. So I went ahead and activated this leg. So now I'm going to take off and go left downwind and intercept that first course here. So we have GPS. I'm going to just let it stay on GPS to make this as smooth as possible. So we did run up already. I'm looking at my rendering in the upper left hand corner. Yep, upper left hand corner we got some, we're right at max. Everything is kind of maxed out. So releasing the brakes, looking left, right. Clear on the right, clear on the left, clear on the right. So what's going on here is try to stop it about on the numbers. Okay, not bad, not bad. Okay, I'm gonna hold the brakes. I know set the parking brakes. I normally would not have to do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and dial in the first course here. This is gonna be it's gonna be a heading of 221 degrees. Nope, 4 degrees. So 109 degrees on the heading. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on my in my heading bug. It's going to be 109. Okay, have 109 set, and altitude set for 15,500. We have oxygen here. I'm not going to start the oxygen right away, but as we establish ourselves on the climb out and get in there, actually I'm going to take this as an opportunity to test the oxygen. So I'm going to wait. You'll see what I mean there in a little bit. So we're going to rotate at 65 knots. Climb initial climb out is going to be 73, and then we're going to adjust our speed to VY 79 knots once cleared of trees and obstacles. Positive rate of climb. We're going to raise the gear, and then raise the flaps when we clear of obstacles. Okay. All right. Any questions? All right. Go ahead and release the brakes and make this happen. Rotate. Positive rate of climb. Gear coming up. Clear of trees and obstacles. Flaps coming up. At 400 feet above ground, which is about 800 feet indicated. We're going to start our turn, and that's, we passed it. So starting our turn, lower this nose to get some speed. Lowering the nose now. So we're actually going to do it like a modified downwind. So up on the right you see Mission Valley, Mission Bay, and you see also can see the ocean to the right of us. Let's get on course here. And what I would do on a flight like this is request flight following normally. So I'm going to go here. We're not going to talk to anyone here, of course. So I'm going to go in navigation for the autopilot, and then autopilot on. And it's going to intercept the course that we have.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. 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 Wheels up from Montgomery, gear coming up inside. Mission Bay below me, Pacific on the right side. La Jolla shines in morning light. The coastline slips away. First leg of a journey, headed east to start the day. 15 minutes in the air, and I'm already free. The city falls behind me now, just the sky in front of me. From San Diego shoreline to the mountains up ahead. This is why I fly to sin. The journey's what I've said. The journey's what I've said. Yeah, yeah. Cleveland National Forest. The chaparral turns to pine. Laguna Mountains rising. It's a different world to find. The desert waits on the other side. The air begins to thin. Turbo engine pulling strong. The climb I'm locked right in. HAILE intersection. First waypoint in the sky. KUMBA coming up ahead. Transition time is now. From B666 to T326, the airways guide me true. Imperial Valley calling, and the desert comes in view. 15 minutes down, a long way yet to go, but every minute in this cockpit helps my flying grow.
So I don't have electric trim on this, although the real airplane does. I'm going to do that in a later upgrade. But for now, you'll use what we have. Just the trim wheel makes it a little bit harder. Alright, and I see that it's got to the first leg and it's turning on its own. We arrived at HAILE and it turned on its own to get to where we need to go.
Attention all aircraft. Mach number field information November current. Altimeter 2996.
So the altimeter is 2996. We're close enough to Montgomery. I'm going to go ahead and set that in. So 2996. Oh, yeah, actually it's already there. I'm not sure why they updated it. As you can see, I'm still trying to tweak this vertical speed. My goal here is 93 knots. we're gonna be coming up on the Cleveland National Forest. Okay, not sure what's going on here. Maybe some turbulence. Yeah, it was on course and it just kind of veered off to the left, and then back on course. It's correcting, but that kind of caught me off guard. I didn't have my hands on anything. Making some fine adjustments on my vertical speed, but putting the nose up. And I still want to shoot for that 93. Lakeland, and we're still on course. Kind of cloudy day there. It's this is the day that the space shuttle is supposed, not the space shuttle, but the Artemis is supposed to splash down. Alright, so I got my airspeed is kind of where I wanted it a little bit, but now it's going down a little bit more. As we climb higher, the airs are thinner, so it takes a little bit of modifying to get the speed where you want it. Trying to nail this airspeed. Got a pretty good climb rate. And that's letting us know we're coming up on our next intersection. Alright, actually, okay, so what's it turning to? Why is it turning? Yeah, I did that before when it was at a last, so it shows a turn, but we don't need to turn. Each time it goes back on course. I'll see what that's about later, and that's why it's important to manage your system there. Don't just put it. You can't just put it on autopilot and leave it. You got to do strange things. You know, if you're shooting an approach and it does that, you can easily wind up on the side of a mountain. The first time I did it, I panicked a little bit more. This time I didn't. And it's still climbing, and a good rate of climb. So 800 feet a minute rate of climb. It's 750 to 800. 98 knots. Alright, so that's a 1,000-foot warning that we're coming up on 15,500. So right now we're 14,600 and climbing. So you notice it's getting dark. It's not getting dark outside. This is that oxygen thing I want to test, because since installing this oxygen switch, I haven't tested it. So this is a very good time to test it. It's getting dark. Because what happened before is there was a switch on the panel to hit, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't get to it to see it. So now I'm putting the oxygen, and you see the vision is restored, and that's pretty much like what happened in real life if you didn't apply the oxygen. And like above 12,000 feet for the pilot, and you can black out. You will black out. So I put a knob, oxygen knob there on the instrument panel. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like on the ceiling. And there it is. So I'm going to push it in and then stop and put it back out. So now everything is a lot brighter. Future is a lot brighter. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see them, but coming up here, there's some windmills. So we're crossing the mountains right now, and this is you have the Cleveland National Forest down below us, and Laguna Mountains. So off on the left, left view, you have a good view of Laguna Mountains, and you can see some greenery. That's going to be part of the Cleveland National Forest. And off on the right, actually, you can see some Cleveland National Forest.
The coastal air is thin and now the pine trees take their place. Laguna peaks are rising slow, a smile across my face. The chaparral is fading back, the desert's drawing near. 15 more minutes in the sky, and California disappears. Crossing over mountains where the eagles learn to glide. The landscape tells a story that you cannot watch from inside. Every ridge and canyon, every shadow on the stone reminds me why I built this rig, to fly this sim alone. The air gets smooth above the peaks, the turbulence is gone. The turbo spools a happy song. I'm in my comfort zone. KUMBA's coming up ahead, the D route takes me east. From coastal V to mountain T, the journey's been increased. The desert's waiting just over that next ridge. 15 more minutes and we'll see the salt in the sea.
See if I can give you a view of better view of where we are. I brought the screen up on the left, the Navigraph chart up on the left. So let's go to the left screen, and there we go. See, we hit some turbulence. So we're on autopilot, but we're rocking backwards and forth. Our speed, true airspeed is actually, we're booking quite over land quite a bit. Have indicated airspeed of 139 knots, but our true airspeed is 179 knots. So that's over. Yeah, that's pretty good time there. I'm going to give you a better view of where we are. I'm going to go to the US VFR sectional and zoom in to where we are, closer. And this is us. Coming up on KUMBA Intersection.
The mountains fall behind me now. The valley opens wide, a patchwork quilt of green and brown. The farms are side by side. The Imperial Valley stretches out. Below the sea they grow. The Salton Sea's a shimmering blue, a story you should know. 30 minutes from departure, and I'm breathing different air. The desert's got a heartbeat, and it's beating everywhere. From El Centro to the border, where the fence line draws the line. This is why I fly these routes, to see the world's design. Below sea level, can you believe? 230 feet or more. The farmers pull from Colorado's river to make this valley soar. They grow our winter vegetables, the lettuce and the greens, and from up here it looks like art, the neatest rows I've seen. IPL VOR, Imperial's the name. It's been guiding pilots through this valley since the early days of aviation. Before GPS, you tune in the frequency and follow the beam. Simple, reliable, still here. 30 minutes down, oh, the borders to the south. Next stop, Arizona. Keep the blue side up.
And we're pretty much tracking, paralleling Interstate 8. So if you was to make this trip by car, you're going to follow pretty much the same route. And let me see if we can see Arcatillo or the zoom out here, the Salton Sea. That's going to be off. Let's peer over there and see what we can see. Oh, there it is. Off to our left there, that body of water just to the off the left wingtip, that's the Salton Sea. And yeah, Salton Sea was kind of created by accident. It was like the Colorado River irrigation system got loose, and there's a story behind that. But there's the Salton Sea. It's actually below sea level. It's something like 34 feet below sea level. So we're coming out in the Imperial Valley area. You can see the farmland. You know, I love this. See if you can see it on your screen there. Yeah, you can see the farmland in the bottom right portion of the screen. I love the pattern of farms. Having grown up doing a lot of farming, and as in family farm, I can appreciate this. This is on a vast scale. Fun fact is, yeah, I mentioned about the Salton Sea, and it's actually 230 feet. I was 200 feet off. And of course, there's agriculture land there that I'm raving about. These agriculture fields accounts for 80% of the U.S. Winter vegetables grown here. That's something I didn't realize until recently. and we're gonna, can't see it yet. Sometimes things are a little hard to see on the flight sim, but at about 11 o'clock, actually 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, is Naval Air Facility, El Centro. Now, one of the problems that the El Centro Air Station was running into was, I saw a poster on their website. They have all these restricted areas here because they do things there. They send aircraft out there, they dogfight, they drop bombs, they shoot missiles, and they really, it's not safe for, there's a fenced area, and they've been working on improving it. They're putting up renewed fencing to keep people out, because they've had to abort a lot of required training because someone's out there camping, hiking, and that's not really good. You know, these you know, they put a lot into training pilots and making sure that on the call of duty they're ready to go. So you want to make sure if you're out in this area, definitely something I can see. That I'm not into off-roading and stuff, but if I was, this will be a go-to area. But you want to keep an eye out for restricted areas. And we're coming up on the Imperial Beach, not Imperial Beach, this is different. Imperial County there. This is a VOR. This has been here forever and a day. And they last a long time. Again, it's land-based. It's been here for quite a long time. And keep an eye on the temperature here. I want to zoom in on something I was mentioning earlier about keeping an eye on the temps. So I change it so that you can see the view. So what we're focusing on is the coolant temp, the gearbox and the coolant temp. Those two, and the oil temp, they crept up a little bit since, they crept up a little bit since closing that cowl flaps. They're kind of okay. They're in the green still, but I'm going to keep an eye on them. Oil temp, oil pressure, coolant temp. Make sure they don't go over that. They're still kind of pushing it. So in fact, let me go ahead and I don't want it to get to a crazy temperature before doing something about it. So I'm opening this cowl flap. Alright, and as anticipated, it's going to correct itself. If someone is aware of a fix for this, let me know. And I'm not panicking because everything that we're encountering is anticipated. So I've seen it happening. It's correcting itself religiously. I want to cut back to the left view here. And look at that farmland. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, I love that. And I remember doing some flight training in the Sacramento Valley area in Northern California. And a flight instructor pointed out to me that you're looking for a runway in an area like this, with a lot of farmland around, as they do up there, the runway is always going to be, almost always going to be parallel to those to the roads going through the farmland. And if you look at some of your charts there, you'll see that to be true. It says intersecting runways, and it might not be true. So, anyway, just a fact upon fact. Look at that spectacular view. You gotta love it. And right down below us, that's that I believe that's Interstate 8 that I was telling you about. I noticed earlier we closed the cowl flap, or opened the cowl flaps for better cooling. That was just a few minutes ago. Now look at the difference it's making already. The oil temp is well in oil temp is well in the green, or in the cooling temp is well in the green, and the gearbox temp is well in the green. Now I notice my fuel is been on the right tank. I need to switch this over. Now I've had an issue with this here, and I'm going to try it again here. You transfer on. And it's supposed to say fuel, if I remember correctly, fuel transfer and fuel pump on, and emergency fuel selected emergency, and it's supposed to correct itself. I don't know how true that is. If it doesn't, then I'll flight sim cheat. I have a workaround, but I do want to find out more about that. So I'm monitoring the fuel and see if it's gonna correct itself. Because the left tank is full, and the right tank has 25 gallons each, and I have less than. Yeah, I think that's actually breaking the rules there. How I am now. It's I saw something in the manual about it being out of balance more than 8 or 9 gallons or something like that, and I have right about exceeding. Yep, I've exceeded that. So I'm gonna for learning purpose, I'm gonna see if I can if I can get it to do it itself. If not, I'm gonna break out the iPad and make a correction. Alright, so it's doing this little quirky thing again. Autopilot still engaged. Yep, and it gets right back on course each time. I think I recalled this happening a long time ago. And most of my flying has been VFR, so I'm not tracking long, trips like this, or I noticed it every now and then, and I think I kind of screwed it up, made it worse by trying to correct it in flight, and I ended up doing 360s. So here I left it alone, and it's doing its thing. We have a good ground speed still of 184 knots. True airspeed 171. Indicated airspeed is only 133. So what's the difference there is it calculates the speed as you increase in altitude. The air is thinner, so the PDOT is not as accurate. So then you get into the calculations of the for airplane performance. You actually can break out the aircraft manual, and it has charts where you can plug in the density, altitude, temperature, dew point, and all that. Indicated altitude, pressure altitude, and you calculate that, and it will tell you before you leave the ground what your speed is going to be, how your aircraft is going to perform. How long it's going to take. You can calculate how long it's going to take to become airborne.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. The Colorado River's just ahead, the border of 2 states. From California to Arizona, the landscape renovates. The desert gets a little red, the mountains start to fade. And you 25 minutes in the air, I'm across the line. From Imperial to Yuma, the desert's doing fine. The DA is humming steady, the fuel gauge is looking good. This is what I built this sim for, flying like I should. The sun-orange desert's opening up, a sea of sand and stone. The Gila River cuts a line that's barely overgrown. Yeah, the mountains on the horizon, purple in the haze. Yeah, and every minute in this cockpit, I'm learning better ways. VOR V58, the airway east takes me toward BZA. Blythe is waiting up ahead, the first stop of the day. But I'm not stopping here. I've got a schedule, got a plan to fly this route from memory and do it like a man. Yeah. 1 hour's almost done. Arizona's in the books. Next stop, right for the desert's got more looks.
We're in the Yuma area. Fun fact about Yuma is the sunniest city on earth. And it's the home of the Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. And that's going to be off on the right somewhere. Okay, so this is turning. I'm going to let it turn. So we can get a glimpse of the air station, and it don't look like we are. So let me cut over to the left here so that you can see the Gila River. And we're also coming up on the VOR, another VOR, Blythe VOR, BLYTHE. And that's another one of those land-based navigation aids. Had some pretty good rendering, so I wasn't quite sure how the rendering. So I recently upgraded this flight sim. May have published the story earlier. I have the started out with the basic flight sim as a student pilot. I had a just a regular desktop computer, mouse, keyboard. And I put on Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think it was basically before 2000. That was Flight Sim 90. It was around 98 or somewhere around that. And it's pretty primitive, but it served its purpose. It was a step up from some stuff that existed earlier. Got a better view of that river now. Yeah, the earlier flight simulators, you would not have been able to do it. I use it pretty much for situational awareness, but flight sims have come a lot further now. Yeah, flight sims have come a long ways And you could actually fly a VFR flight. The early flight sims, oh yeah, sort of kind of it was difficult to fly a VFR flight because you could not make out landmarks. Now, as you see, you can see the rivers, you can see roads, bridges. Unless back then, unless that bridge intersection that was highly, it was like an iconic bridge, like the Golden Gate Bridge or something like that. You really couldn't tell it much. Highways is harder. Just the graphics. Just think how far we've come in computer technology. The equipment that's sitting in front of me now, it rivals early airlines. You look at some pictures of some early airlines and some of the stuff they have, it's primitive by today's standards. And even the flight sim that I have, it kind of blows it away. Now, being a VFR pilot, even though I've been inactive for a while, I haven't used all the features of this G1000, but it's awesome. The breakdown is the same. I learned to fly on, I refer to them as round gauges. Some people refer to them as steam gauges, but the regular 6-pack, and it has all of that. It has all of that here. I was going to plug this other camera back in, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I believe that caused some problems with the USB connection, so I'm going to leave that disconnected and we'll go with just this one camera. But yeah, it has basically your G1000 suite. You have one on the left and one on the right, and you have your comm stuff in the middle. Just like with the conventional flight sim. Let me put this in a position where it's a good view. And get my pointer in place. And that was kind of at an angle. So this is your primary flight display, and this is your multi-function display. You have a red button, so if one of these go out, you can press this button and get it to switch. Like if the primary one was to go out, this is the one that you need, the one on the left that's right in front of the pilot. That has all the instrumentation you need to safely fly the airplane. The one on the right, that's a multi-function display. That's the one that's tells you, allows you to navigate safely, to navigate the way you're going. As you can see, you have that plane that's, I don't want to, let me put this back here, about right there. So what you have is, hopefully you can see it, you have some engine instruments. It tells you how we're doing. That's what we looked at earlier, and we knew that we was getting a little warm when I closed those cowl flaps. So I closed the cowl flaps, I opened them again, and we're still operating at a high speed and making some good headway over the ground. Right now it's 183 knots. That's pretty good. So on the left, what we have is the instruments that's equivalent to the 6-pack. So I'm not teaching flying. For that, I strongly recommend you go, anything that you see in this video, don't go hop in the airplane and trying this here stuff. And again, I'm a VFR pilot, not a flight instructor. The FAA has free documentation. If you go into the FAA website and just FAA.gov, or just Google FAA, and it has terabytes of PDF documents. Basically anything that the FAA tells you that you have to know to fly safely or to operate in the aviation environment, period. Everything from running airport markings, if you're that facilities person, or that, to like how to maintaining a hangar, to how to fly an airplane and how to operate the operations department, what they're supposed to do, air traffic controllers, what they're supposed to do. There's free documentation on that. Now, what commercial vendors have done is they've taken that, because there's so much information, they bundled it into a easy to follow and read manual, flight manual, that you can, aeronautical information manual, um, Federation regulations manual, pilot manual, everything you need. So you want to be a private pilot, you just go buy a manual on how to be a private pilot. But again, that information is free. Now, what I found, you you pay for the one from a vendor, of course, but you could follow up with information on the from the FAA that they provide for free, and that's a good way to stay on top of it also. So we passed that BZA VOR that I was telling you about, and now we're coming up on let me get a center. What I'm doing here is kind of pausing to make sure that I'm staying on top of what we're doing also. Now, that's one of the things, the challenges of a pilot. Um, when you go for your check ride, you're going to have a examiner sitting shoulder to shoulder with you, and they're going to be friendly. Well, most of them are. I had a friendly one. Um, and they're going to conversate with you. They're going to carry on a normal conversation. One of the things they're checking to see is that when after you get that pilot's license and you have all your friends and relatives flying along, they're going to have a lot of questions, and it's going to be a lot of distractions. You're trying to fly the airplane, so you're the pilot, co-pilot, flight engineer. Um, you're the flight attendant as well. And so you're responsible for everyone on that airplane. The FAA's focus is more on public safety than pilot. They allow you to solo, so you could go out and you can practice, and you have restrictions placed on you by the flight instructor, and you have someone responsible for making sure that you can fly safely. And so that's someone you can you can share the blame with if something happens, but it's still on you. You are a pilot, a student pilot at that point until you take the written exam, get an endorsement to take a written exam, and an endorsement to go for the private pilot check ride. And again, that information is available through the FAA. Just go to the FAA site and do a search on how to become a private pilot. So we're coming up on MOHAK, and there's some. Well, we're at the terrain in this area is high. Not a whole lot to see out here, except we are surrounded by restricted areas. Now this is what I was saying. So we came up on this intersection, and it's turning. It has a tendency. It seems like it always turns to left, and then it gets back on course. I'm looking at it. I'm monitoring that on that primary flight display in front of me, so I know that it's getting back on course. I'm looking to see if you have that. Yep. You can see it. You can see the same thing. So the pink tells me it was tracking GPS, and its altitude. Yep, 15,000 feet, 15,500 feet. So, fun fact for aviation. One of the tools that are used to help planes avoid flying into each other is a minimum separation. Like even if you totally screw everything up, let's say that flying in the same direction as a instrument pilot, and they're at 15,000 feet. So the VFR always adds 500 feet. So airplanes going in this direction, VFR, IFR, instrument flight rule, they're assigned by ATC at 15,000 feet. So they're trucking along, and they zoom right past me. I'm at 15,500 feet. So if everyone has the altimeter set correctly, like what would normally happen along this route is I would tune in to like approach like Albuquerque or somewhere like that, or the airports, actually, the individual airports. But if you're doing flight following, they'll give you this information also. They'll give you information on the altimeter settings for your area, and then you plug that in, you dial that in to change this. Yep, so it's a knob here, the barometer. You dial that knob and you change it, and that would adjust your altitude to a correct one. Now, with that being said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go over here. And find us. Where are we? Where are we? We're way up here. Now, we just passed Yuma. What else is up here? Now, flight sims have line of sight realism. I'm going to tune in to ATIS 128.225, and I'm going to see if it would give me. It's a VHF frequency. Military use VHF and UHF. Some I've been at locations where, like the towers, like this one. Okay, this has VHF. So I'm going to tune in to Yuma Air Facility. It's a military base. 128.225. So I'm going here. COM 128. Oh. Uh-oh. That's not changing again. Yeah, there's something going on with that. I fixed it over here, so I'll use this knob. Okay, 128. And what did I say? 0.225. Then I flip that over and see if I get ATIS. Might be too far. Here we go.
Arriving runway 24, departing runway 24, wind 2303, spots knots, visibility 4 knots at miles, no significant cloud, temperature 30.2, altimeter 298 spots,
2985.
JUDTH is coming up ahead, another point in space. The desert's getting wider now, no buildings, just a place. The sun orange spreads for miles, no airports to be found, just me and DA50RG, the only game in town. 75 minutes in, and I've never felt so small. The desert has a way of making you feel 10 feet tall. The silence is a language that the city never speaks. This is why I leave the ground to find what flying seeks. The painted rocks are off to north, a smudge against the sky. Gila Bend is somewhere south, a town that's passed me by. The air is thin, the engine's strong, the gauge is all red-green. The most alone I've ever felt, the most I've ever been. In the cockpit, in the desert, in the middle of the day, I'm exactly where I want it, not a single thing to say. Just the sound of air and engine, just the hum of what I built. And every mile I put behind me, I absorb the guilt. JUDTH is in the logs now. The desert's all I see. Sometimes the best companion is the sky and me.
Remember I mentioned earlier that you could follow, that we're pretty much following Interstate 8. I'm going to show you something here. Left view. Here we go. Okay, so left view. And there we go. We're literally paralleling Interstate 8. This is us. And this is Interstate 8. Look at that. Railroad track. Now, you see this circle with the X. And then this is the private airport. And circle with the X. So that's the airport that's closed. That's the airport that's closed. So you don't want to land there. It's not guaranteed things are going to be clear. This is another one closed. Private airport. But if there's an emergency and you have a choice, you know, you're landing on the sand dune or on a closed runway, you know that it's going to have a flat surface. Don't mean that nothing's going to be on that runway. I've seen it where they closed down the air station that I was stationed at in the Navy, and they actually put things on the flight line, and I've seen them put things on one of the runways as well. Now that runway will have an X on it. If you are approaching something like that, you see an X on. If you're approaching any airport runway and you see an X on the runway, you know that that's that means it's closed. So you want to be mindful of that. But at least land close by there. There's a good chance that someone's going to be around. This is kind of out in the boonies as you can see. But someone is out, there's a good chance that someone is going to be near there. And you see we're out here kind of in the boonies. But there's that Interstate 8. So something did happen here. You're not near an airport. Interstate 8. Yeah, so something did happen and you're not near an airport. You flying along Interstate 8. So there's always cars on Interstate 8. You have a nice long stretch of hard surface pavement, land, and there's my observation of traffic along Interstate 8 or any interstates. There's space where you can pull off on the side once you land, so that you don't get hit by a car. But someone's gonna see you there. You know, they're gonna. You know, everyone has a camera now. They're gonna want to. They're gonna take the social media. So even if you're not in radio range where you can send out a distress signal, if something should happen, you land on the freeway, then you're almost guaranteed that someone's going to show up with a camera and start taking pictures or video, and they're going to send it to the news media. Now, speaking of that, one of the things I do is I always let my spouse know. I let my wife know where I'm going. Show her, give her a brief description of the flight plan, and if I don't show up for supper, she knows where to come looking for me at. So you want to have the same practice. And if you're a passenger on the plane, you actually, I consider my passengers as almost not required crewmen, but I utilize them. There's this thing that's discussed in the aviation community called cockpit resource management. And what that means is the FAA wants you to be aware of and utilize every resource in that cockpit. I only have one set of eyes, and I can't look in two directions at the same time. But the more passengers I have, the more directions they can look at. And I let them know in the brief that I know you've heard the term before, if you see something, say something. That's so important when you're flying as in a private aircraft or any aircraft. If you see something that the crew may not see, let them know. Flying alone, you know, if you're up front and I become incapacitated, you know the basics. I've shown you the basics of during the brief on how to control that airplane, how to key the mic on the radio, and how to say Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And look around. Passengers in the back seat. Guess what their job is? Aft observers. Passenger in the front seat, you're the forward observer. Look for anything I may miss. It's hard to see other aircraft sometimes. So I test the passengers with that, as well as myself, of course.
Yeah. GBN is coming up, the GBN VOR. Dial it in and listen for the Morse code through the roar. The needle center left or right, I'm locked onto the beam. The way that pilots did it back when flying was a dream. 90 minutes in the air and I'm on V94. The Goldwater Range is south of me, I've seen it all before. From GBN to TFD, the Tucson VORs ahead. This is how we used to navigate before the GPS was fed. The analog is beautiful, there's truth in every dial. No pixels, no uncertainty, no reason to revile. The VOR is radio, a signal from the ground. And when it centers perfectly, there's peace in what I found. Barry and Goldwater, the military's training ground. The jets are flying somewhere there, I hope I'm not inbound. I'll stay up here on V94 and let them have the space. The desert's big enough for all of us to find our place. GBN is behind me now. V94 said the next VOR is TFD. I haven't lost it yet.
So I mentioned earlier how you're able to get the ATIS information, automatic terminal information service, from a military base if they display it. I'm looking at one here. This is GBN Auxiliary Air Force, and it has a tower frequency, but it does not have ATIS. And so I cannot get that the ATIS from them. Well, I can. This was a live environment. What you could do is call the tower. I could tune into 1-2. Let me get you over to where I'm talking about. So this is that airbase I was telling you about. So this is us. We're in this area. We're going to get the most accurate ATIS information from GBN or GBN. Someone can leave a comment to make sure I correct it right. I would call the tower up at 127.75 and ask them for the ATIS, and they would give it to me. Or I think we're in the Albuquerque area center. I could call them up and they can give it to me also. Now we're coming up on that bend I was telling you that each time we come up on the end of a fix, here it is. GBN VOR, VOR TAC is the military side of that. I'm anticipating it kind of veering off in the opposite direction, and maybe left and right, or overturning to the right. Let's see what it does here coming up. Here we go. Look at that. Yep, you can, it actually did it. As you can see, and it's getting back on course, but that was not a bad turn. That actually was rather smooth compared to some other ones. And each time it's done it, it's been predictable. And it caught me off guard the first one, but every single one has been right on the money where it's supposed. Excuse me, where it's supposed to be. So no panic. So let me zoom out. I'm looking for somewhere I can change my altimeter setting, because even though this is a sim, it can be important. I mean, well, yeah, the altimeter can still be important. So we're here. I'm going to get it from Phoenix Sky Harbor, ATIS. That's what it's at, 127.575. So I know, well, this wasn't working. Nope, still not working. So here we go, 127. Where did it go? Yeah, 127.575.
Variable. Visibility 4 back 10 miles. Sky clear. Temperature 31. 2.5 and 2. Altimeter 298. Advise official contact to have information.
Okay, it's at 2989. You can see that's changing.
Sky Harbor International Information Juliet 1910 Zulu. Arrive at runway 0807770.
All right, so we changed it, and we got some current ATIS information. If we was going there, this is where we would start kind of listening in on what's going on with the traffic in this area. Multiple airports. You have Sky Harbor one. You have what do we have here? Glendale Regional, Luke Air Force Base. A lot of stuff going on there. It's a good idea, even though we're not going into there. There's planes coming and going, and we're just outside of that 30-mile bell. What that means is that you need a MOHAK transponder. ABS now, they added that. Before you can even fly in this area, you have to have a MOHAK transponder. You can't fly over it, you can't fly under it. If you're within 30 miles of Class Bravo airspace, that's, think B for busy. You need that MOHAK. And there's detailed information on that. Again, go to the FAA website and go look for a aeronautical information manual, AIM. And for AIM manual is what's going to give you the information on that operating in the airport area. In this area, they have lots of mountains, but we're in the area of the Santa Catalina Mountains as well, and there's Skydive, Arizona. Yeah, this Flying Bucket Ranch. That we're right over right now.
The Cacho Peak is coming up, a volcanic cornerstone, the most distinct landmark that a pilot's ever known. It marked the Western Battle, they say.
I want to see what it looks like from above.
And from up here, it's beautiful. In a desert sort of way. 1 hour 45, and I can see the mountains rise. the Santa Catalinas, cutting holes up in the skies. Eloy's below me, watch for parachutes in flight. This is the part of Arizona that just feels so right. Skydive, Arizona's on the ground, the world's biggest drop zone. 1,000 jumpers in the air when conditions are full grown. But I'm up here at 17,000, watching from
Man off to the left.
the DA-50RG is humming like a pilot's first true love. Over Casa Grande's to the south, the ancient Hoboken.
And this is that.
They built their homes and watched the stars and left us what they built.
Now the fuel thing I mentioned earlier,
1,000 years
and
of history.
one of the things in your, and I didn't put that in my flight sim log, and I should have, is the fuel. Pilots, many pilots, well, I'm not gonna say many, some pilots have given out of fuel doing this very same thing what I'm doing. Have a full right tank, a left tank, but I made some changes there, so that's a function that doesn't seem to function on the
Tucson's getting in.
that or I'm not doing it right. So here's what I'm going to do to cheat a little bit. I know that this is out of tolerance for the regulations, well, for the manufacturer requirement. So I am going to, let me show you what I'm doing. And this is some of the cool things you can do on the flight sim. I just want to, oh actually I'm going to drag this over into here so that you can see what I'm doing. Come on. Oh, it's not letting me. Yeah, I'll do it this way. Here we go. Okay. Balance fuel. Hit a button in the virtual environment, and now we look over, and my fuel is balanced. Yep, my fuel is now balanced. So now I'm a legal. And so I didn't hit anything. Yep. Get back right. Get this stowed away. And I just hit the Potter intersection, and that's what that turn was about. Love that farmland. Next up is going to be the TFD VOR. That's Tucson. two private airfields out here in this area. Off to our right and off to the left, there's something there, an AWAS. Now, we just got ADA, so I'm gonna, I think, leave it where it's at. Yeah, we're close enough there. We got some ADA's information. Get a good look at the plane. Now, somewhere around here, there's supposed to be, oh, do I see something? Hold on. Yep. Wonder if that's it. So that airport right there above the storm window is Casa Grande Municipal Airport. Okay, so we passed over the Stanford VOR, or Stanfield VOR. Somewhere around here. And sometimes you catch these things on flight sims, and sometimes they don't show them. Somewhere around here is a boneyard. It's where you put retired aircraft that still has some potential in case you need some. It's like the Navy would call it fleet reserve. And as speaking of, there's a fleet of ships that are stowed in case, and they can get restored if needed. Aircraft, they put them out here in the desert because this desert area is like really, really dry, and which is good for preservation. While in the F-14 squadron, we would preserve aircraft periodically, and it's one of my jobs is aviation logistics. We would actually, well, I did the work orders to preserve aircraft. Sometimes there's preserving them to put them on display at the front gate, and sometimes it's to send them to the boneyard. And so they preserve them in such a way that they don't get any kind of wildlife, anything, or rodents or birds setting up camp there, and they actually, to the best of my knowledge, they actually have someone to come out and check periodically. And if it's something that's still an aircraft that's still assigned, you know, we'll actually put it on the far end of the flight line and preserve it, you know, for like 6 months or so at a time, and later on de-preserve it and bring it back into
TFD is on
full
the
service.
nose. The Tucson VOR is near. The letters stand for 3 great places. That's why they put them here. Tucson, Fort Hood, Huachuca, and Davis, Mountain 2. 3 aviation landmarks that
Yeah, it's supposed to be about 4,000 or so retired aircraft. Let me see.
And I'm reflecting on the flight
Looks like,
from San Diego's coastline to this desert. In the light, the DA is burned steady. The fuel is holding fine, and every minute in this cockpit, I'm reclaiming what is mine. Somewhere down below me is the boneyard, so they say. 4,000 aircraft parked in rows to wait a better day. The desert air preserves them, keeps the rust and rot at bay. And I think of all the pilots who have flown them. Come what may, Coolidge is below me now. The ruins to the west, the whole came along since gone. But history's at its best. 1,000 years of human flight. No, they never knew the sky, but they looked up and wondered, same as you and same as I. The boneyard's out of sight. 2 hours, 15 minutes, and I'm doing fine tonight.
I just know it's off to our left. Let me get the right orientation. It's at 10 o'clock. That's it. That is that airport is the Coolidge Municipal Airport. Somewhere around here is a stash of 4,000 or so aircraft. Military aircraft, or well, it doesn't say military. It could be civilian aircraft as well. They mix them up a lot of times. Try to get a better look around. Now that airport that's right behind us, that you see right by the tail, that's going to be Eloy Municipal Airport. They have parachuting and everything going on there. And that reservoir there, that should be Picacho Reservoir. I don't see the barnyard. Yeah, don't see that. Sorry about that. I was hoping that we could see a bunch of aircraft. I I have seen them in other areas. I have seen them like up in Mojave. If you fly on the flight sim, flying to Mojave, California, there, you will see a whole bunch of aircraft. I did that. What I was doing here is correcting. I know it's on autopilot, but I was actually correcting earlier before I was able to engage the autopilot. I was heavy on the trim wheel, but I didn't go back to see if it was neutralized after in the neutral position where it's supposed to be or near to it when I got back when I engaged the autopilot. So yeah, I saw that it was kind of way down, and still is. Okay, so this is where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna leave it there. The autopilot didn't like that. That's one of the things. This I don't want to mess with it now. But this is doing good. But there's a button there that's on your normally on your yoke. There is to temporarily. I'll say some airplanes, even real world, they'll you can temporarily disengage the autopilot, or no, it's not disengaging the autopilot, but it will temporarily allow you to maneuver the aircraft manually. Like you may be on, like we're flying along now on autopilot. If we was doing flight following, they may ATC may ask us to deviate from our course momentarily to avoid traffic, for instance. Or we may want to, well, flying around a storm, we'd probably do it a different way. But if we just wanted to avoid a storm cell, and if we didn't want to go through and redo our flight plan on the G1000, did want to alter it, we would simply press that button, hold it down, maneuver the aircraft as required, and then when we're ready to resume our normal navigation, we would do it on our own. If it was like weather or something, ATC would tell you, okay, go ahead and resume traffic no longer affected, resume on navigation. And we just let go of that button, and then the aircraft will actually go back on course and resume its own navigation. So we're at Chrome Intersection, and it's doing its thing. this is a good way of working the bugs out here. Some of this I haven't done in a while. Like I said, I know that I've never fully utilized all the features on the G1000. I've come a long ways. When I first started, I knew how to use like a lot of pilots you'll see. It might be different now, different generations. This is a computer generation. I didn't grow up in the computer generation. But now the ones coming out of school, they probably learn this stuff in elementary, how to program a G1000, how to configure a G1000. If you ever get in a snag that you need to get somewhere, the direct button. That's the first thing. First thing that a lot of pilots learn. Hit that direct button. We're not going to play with it on the cross country here. I may cover that on another video. But again, I don't want to get into teaching flight training. I would always refer you to a certified and qualified FAA or equivalent flight instructor. And that way you don't pick up bad habits. I'm always mindful of learning something the wrong way. If you know something already and you want to brush up on it, that's fine. Just think how many times, think when you're going through school, the times where you learned something the wrong way and you thought that it was the right way. You had no idea it was wrong until you came across someone who corrected the mistake. It's hard to unlearn something. It's easy to learn something, but it's hard to unlearn something if you've been doing it wrong the whole time. So I don't want to be that guy. I'm not going to be that guy who teaches you the wrong way. Now, if I update my video and say, hey, guess what? I'm a flight instructor or I'm a ground instructor, then I'll put things out there that are the gospel truth, that's verified before I sit down to log onto the sim to start teaching it. But right now I'm not teaching. This is it's making this. The purpose of this is to make you aware of the things you can do with the flight sim. Now, flight sim versus flying real airplanes. There's a lot of things changing in the aviation community. Over decades, I've started flying, I stopped flying, started, stopped. And I mean, not being a professional pilot, I look at it as easy come, easy go. I use extra income to fly, work some overtime, have some flying money. And best way to do it if you really like flying is to plot out a course and do it. Just like if you know that you want to go to college, get the funding for it, and hit up your rich uncle, and you have a rich drunk uncle who want to go flying, it might be better, because hit him up before he sobers up, get some money for flying. So it's expensive, but you can do it. I did it more in a way of I had no one to show me how to do it. I had no family or friends to mentor me, and I didn't really know how to go about doing it. There was no think of an environment. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. I look back at what's available now, and I think if I didn't know someone, I would think, all this is on the internet. It tells you exactly how to get started, and what you have to do exactly. Like I'm putting information out there. There's a website. Well, there was no such thing as the internet when I first started flying, and there was no YouTube, no bulletin boards or anything like that, or support groups. And I had to ride my bicycle 10 miles to an airport, and my way of learning was I would get a magazine. I would ride my bike 10 miles out to an airport on the freeway. It was dangerous, but not like with on ramp, off ramp, but a more where you turn onto the freeway and you end up in the same place. But there was a lot of high probability of getting hit by a car. but I love flying enough to where I took that chance. So it was the love of flying, but I didn't have a course plotted out. Flying is expensive, but it's affordable when thought out. I didn't think it out well. My goal, I accomplished my goal. You set low goals, you're going to achieve low goals. Aim high. We like the Air Force. In fact, you can go into the Air Force. Plot out. If you want to fly, there's lots of information on how to fly. There's scholarships. There's just plain old saving and doing it. You can do it a little at a time so that you don't end up with the paying off a student loan at the end. There's different ways to go. There's again, there's a wealth of information on the internet and on the FAA site on how to get started, how to do this here. There's some people who are not gonna may not be wishing you the best of luck. Find out quickly how to go. When you're picking out a flight instructor, it's almost like picking someone to marry. It's you have to have a good working relationship with that person, because you're going to sit shoulder to shoulder in the cockpit with that person, literally shoulder to shoulder. And if there's bad vibes, you're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to be such a lousy experience. I had those experiences, and I was so happy to get in the airplane. I felt, oh, I'm lucky to be in this airplane. I didn't look at a lot of time that was spent with certain flight instructors who wasn't feeling me. So those are just some things that you want to be aware of. And you know, well plotted out. Pay as you go if you can. Just think priorities. What's more, for me, look at what I have on. I have a t-shirt, plain t-shirt. It don't cost much. You can get it at Target. I got sweatpants on for this flight. You can get regular clothes. Just move money around. You'll be surprised at what you can do. Don't look at what you don't have. Look at what you have and how you can move that around. Someone taught me that a long time ago, and that's how I was able to fly and eventually get my private pilot's license. But the problem there was I did not dream beyond a private pilot. So I accomplished the goal of being the first person in my family to become a private pilot, first and only. And I'm glad I was able to take my brother flying and stuff to share the adventure with him. And but it's a process. It's expensive, and it's getting more expensive. You can really cut the cost by cracking the books, get that written exam out of the way, practice on the flight simulator, and then when you meet with the instructor, you'll know how to do that maneuver. Sometimes they don't let you know what they want to do. It's important. It's an important part of the learning. Is they always create a situation to see how you handle stress. No, you're going to come up with a lot. There's going to be some things that are going to happen that you're not going to have time to plan for. What you do is you apply. You have some general rules to apply to any situation that to get you out of a bad situation that you may run up on. It tells you, you learn how to avoid the situation, and then you learn how to, if you get into that situation, how to get out of it. So enough of beating that subject. So what are we coming up on now? We're coming up on the intersection of, I guess it's pronounced Adam, I-T-E-M-M. So that's what that rocking was about.
Yeah. SSO is up ahead, the SSO VOR by name. The Gila River's down below, the mountains look the same, but something's different in the air, feeling in the land. The San Carlos Apache Reservation, sacred proud and grand. 2 hours, 15 minutes, and the landscape settled in. The desert's not a desert when you see what lies within. The mountains are like islands rising from a sandy sea, and every one of them has stories that belong to you and me. Yeah, Mount Graham's to the northeast, a sky island in the clouds. 10,000 feet of granite rising far above the shrouds. The Apache hold it holy, and I get it from up here. A place where earth and sky connected couldn't be more clear. To SSO VOR, Sappho's the name. But this land has had 1,000 names before the settlers came. I'm just passing through it, just a pilot on a flight. But I remember this terrain when I turn out the light. SSO is calling, the needle's pointing true. 2 hours, 30 minutes, and I'm still in love with you.
Okay, 2998. And let's see what else they have in that data. That's
On
what,
International Information Lima, 2000 Zulu. Arriving runway 12, departing runway 12. Wind light and variable. Visibility 4 knots at miles. Sky clear. Temperature 3. Dew point -4. Altimeter 290 feet.
alright, so they're calling the sky clear, and they go by over the airport, and what we're seeing is miles away, and we're miles away, so that's pretty accurate. Yeah, coming up in the upper right corner, there's a light spot. That is that's Wilcox player, or whatever that is. Looks like a lake bed. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it's just off on the right. Let me see if I can get a closer picture. Yeah, right there. It looks like a dry lake bed. There's something, it's not calling it a lake bed. Wilcox player. That's what they're calling it. And you remember what I mentioned earlier about airports. So there's airports all around there. There is to the left of that, so like right above where the buttons are here, somewhere there is an airport, kind of in that area. It's a non-tower airport, as with a lot of airports here, because they just don't get enough traffic to justify putting a tower and controller there. But that's the Cochise County, I guess it's pronounced. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Cochise County Airport. And it's next to the city of Wilcox. And there's a private airport to the left of it. Some pumping stations along the way. Hachuka Army Intel Training Drone Testing. I'm sorry, yep, it's somewhere out in this area there. So that's probably not something we'll be able to see on the flight sim. Now, one of the things I want to mention about flight sim performance, sitting on the ground in a busy airport environment, the flight sim has to render all of that video, and so I have everything cranked up to max, and I was able to get it was like around 20. I think the lowest it averaged around 28, 28 to 30. But it occasionally dropped down to like 27 or so. And at altitude, as you see, the looking around is not a whole lot for it to paint, for the sim to paint. So my rendering is way up to 37. That's with everything cranked up. This is a deluxe. It took me decades. No shame in my game, but I started with the computer on the desktop, and I went from there, and it actually helped me with my flight training for private pilot, because it was the Microsoft Flight Sim. I was planning a trip into Truckee, and it was I think around June. Well, I knew California, I know about the May, gray, June gloom along the coast, but apparently it's the same thing in Truckee, because Lake Tahoe area, because when I took off, I was immediately, the screen went white. I thought that there was something wrong with my display. I was troubleshooting my display as I was climbing out on the sim. I kept it going, and I was troubleshooting my displays. And then my picture came back, but then so I looked at the sim, and looking down, I see that there was a layer of fog, but you can see mountains and stuff off in the mountain peaks off in the distance. So it's pretty realistic. It's a good way. I used to practice all my. If I knew I was going on the cross country as a student pilot, I would hop on my flight sim and do it. And now they've come a long ways. You can buy components, or you can build components. If you have a technical background, electrical engineering, or electronics background, that's even better. Computers and electronics, if you're strong in that area, build a simulator. Now, I'm flying a Diamond. I know chances are I've never fly a Diamond aircraft. I had started out with the Cessna flight sim, and a little bit more down to earth. That's what I flew in real world, Cessnas and Pipers. But I kind of fantasized about something with. I didn't want an airline. You know, I don't have a need to fly an airline sim. My thing is something that in the real world, if I need to get behind the flight controls, can I do it? The Diamond aircraft here, I put together things, combination of some stuff I started out with on my own, combined it with some real sim gear stuff, including a Cessna panel, G1000s, a Sirius throttle quadrant, a SATEC, I messed with that trim again, SATEC trim, and I modified the Cessna panel. I actually took and drill holes in it. I cut it down. I reduced the height of the Cessna sim by about 4 inches. Now, all I needed for that was a hacksaw with a straight edge and a workbench and a hacksaw. I knocked it down 4 inches, and then I looked at pictures of a Diamond simulator, a Diamond aircraft, and I looked at what knobs, switches they have, and I went on Amazon and I bought them. And I do have a background in electronics, but I hadn't used it in years. I had to learn what those switches were. Again, what do they do? What are they called? How do you wire them? So I had to learn, okay, what's the difference between a single pole, single throw, double pole, double throw, temporary on off. It just push, just a lot of stuff I had to learn. Now I have the advantage of being a pilot, so I know what the switches are supposed to do on the panel. And so I looked at the pictures. I drilled holes right before I even did that. I learned how to wire the switches, so I relearned that again, and got comfortable with that. Then circuit boards, moved on to the circuit board. Didn't want something that'll take me forever in a day, so I found a board, and I have a video on that, on the equipment I use. But I got it wired where it was working on a test board, and then I drilled holes in the modified Cessna flight sim that I got from Real Sim Gear to put the switches and the knobs where they were. Oh, I had to get real creative. One of my knobs is from it's a knob for that's meant for a washing machine, but it works. It turns. I turn it on. I look at and it turns on the knob, that same knob, in the flight sim. So I turn it off. It turns off. Quite interesting. You know, some of the things I did. Gear handle, same thing. Flap lever, oxygen. So I drill holes. You know, my flight sim is not exactly the width of the Diamond aircraft, but no worries because I don't have that much room for it anyway. I might change that later, move some stuff around, and got to keep the wife happy. Though, what they say, happy wife make a happy life. So I drill the holes. I put the switches in there. I knew the switches, so I was able to wire it. So it looked real. It looked like the real thing, and close enough to trick your brain in a way, and everything worked. Yep, everything worked. I tapped my pad accidentally, and my display went away, but it's back. So that's where I'm there. So, and this is over a period of time. You notice I said I learned the stuff and got it. So don't break the bank trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not a Jones. I didn't try to keep up with the Jones. I just got something that is modified. You know, it's modified in a way that I can't do just on the fly changes. This is something that I'm flying each time I start up the sim. I custom built my computer using my computer skills, so I saved a lot of money there not having to buy one. I bought it one component at a time. I looked at what was needed for X-Plane, the latest X-Plane 12. I looked at the system requirements and then the recommendations, and then I bumped it up a notch from the recommendation. I got my CPU, I got my motherboard separate, got my RAM, memory chips, solid state hard drives. This got spread out over a period of months. I could have did it sooner, but why? Because the key there is while you're upgrading your simulator, enjoy it. So I was able to enjoy my other one, my X-Plane 11 with Windows 10. Windows 10, Microsoft announced, okay, we're not going to support that anymore. Not going to be supporting. You're not going to get updates on it. And so I started planning the update. So I switched over, and I found a way to revitalize my old hardware that I had. That whatever I didn't use in the new one. So yeah, it's just something to think about. Okay, so it's telling me my fuel is low. Yep, I know that towards the end of this it's going to be low. So I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to go here, balance out my fuel. I got 8.7 gallons on each tank. Yeah, this plane has a range. This Diamond has like a 700 something mile range, and we're going 480 something miles. So we're doing good. We should have no problem with the fuel. Now you can get fancier. You can actually calculate your fuel along the way, and like I said, these are pretty accurate. A long time ago, what I used to do is actually I would actually calculate, do everything the exact same way, and that's the way of doing it. It's really, if you're actively flying, I'm not actively flying now, so I cut out some of those, but should I start flying again real world, then I'll resume doing those things. But yeah, you could go as far as layout. Even though all this electronics, I had a habit of sticking with some old school stuff, and that's using paper charts. In addition to the fancy electronic navigation, is just too easy to plan across country, and it makes it easier to overlook something. So I remain initially doing flight sims. I remain in the habit of unfolding that chart out on the table, drawing a line from point A to point B, and then plot your course around mountains and other obstacles that you may encounter. Check the weather, draw the weather symbols from where you are, point of destination, at time, point of destination, en route, and deport and destination. Draw that weather. Look at your, back then it was the $8 chart. Look at that $8 chart as part of your operating expense. Don't worry about lines. The instructor got me into that habit. I used to always try to say, oh, I don't want to write on my charts. Then I have to be all messy and I have to get another one. He said, well, get another one. And it makes sense. Look at what we're paying for aviation now. What does it matter if you spend an extra $8 on the chart? So you got it in your head. You know how they're saying if you write something down, you can memorize it better. So do that. Write it down on the chart. They still sell paper charts. You plot that course out. Now you got it in your head, and it's making sense as you're doing it. Instead of just hitting a button, okay, KMYF to KDMN. That's what happens when you fly somewhere. KDMN. Yeah, it'll plot it out and do all the stuff for you. But it's good to see what you're crossing, and then you memorize that. Okay, coming across this mountain peak, got to make sure my altitude is there. Oh, altitude. Speaking of, I fly a VFR flight with the same minimums as the instrument. Because you're not going to run into anything, and if you end up going down in the boonies like you see around here, these are the boonies. Yep, these are the boonies. Mountains, 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 mountains. Oh, what's that? Some form of civilization. And mountains, mountains, terrain. Yeah, so if you do that, what happened there? I think I moved the joystick in the very late. No, I didn't. We just hit SSO. That's the one of our checkpoints here on the Navigate. So VOR, that's the Stafford VOR. And we're getting ready to go into eastern Arizona. So sorry about that distraction there. That's what I'm here for, is to monitor these primary. Aviate, navigate, communicate. So I've been communicating, navigating, let the autopilot navigate, but I'm communicating with you, but I'm keeping an eye on that. Autopilot doesn't relinquish the pilot from the responsibility of staying safe, navigating and doing the pilot portion. So kind of lost my train of thought there, but do we need to look ahead here on where we are? So the area we're in, we're in the area somewhere around here is the San Carlos Apache Reservation. And there's some history of it. You can read if you want to read up on the history of the Apache guerrilla history. And one of these mountains is Mount Graham. I think I might see it because it's at 10,000 feet, and I see something off to our right, that's 10,000 feet. I think it's off to the right. No, that's not it. Yeah, we're leaving Arizona, getting ready to cross into Mexico, New Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. The Paloncillo Mountains mark the border of the state, from Arizona into New Mexico, and I can hardly wait. The land of enchantment's waiting, with its deserts and its skies, and FAAST is coming up, the final point before our eyes. 2 hours, 30 minutes, and I'm crossing state line 3, from California to New Mexico. It's all been up to me. The DA-50 RG has carried me through desert heat and haze, and now I'm in the home stretch of these cross-country days. Yeah, Lordsburg's down below me, just a speck against the sand. The interstate is paralleling everything I planned. The mountains of New Mexico are purple in the light, and I can feel the continental divide coming into sight. FAAST Intersection, someone had a laugh. The FAA safety team immortalized in graph, a point in space, a winking nod, a tip of the hat to everyone who's ever filed their VOR, and just like that.
We're actually kind of, now we're along Interstate 10, so we've been paralleling. And we have, off our left here, we're coming up on the, that's part of that same thing, coordinate player, KLAL. That's how I pronounce the player. And then there's Catherine's player. So that means something to someone in this area. So I appreciate if you give me a comment to let me know what that's talking about, because PL, I'm pronouncing it playa, PLAYA, and there's several different ones. We saw some earlier, they ended with the same name. So let me know, make me smarter. And we're coming up on off to our left there. This is a municipal airport, no tower, but it's got AWAS. I'm going to tune in. Actually, no, never mind. Oh yeah, 118.1. See if I can get this AWAS. 118.1. Say altimeter 3008.
Weather observation, Lordsburg, municipal. Wind 21034 knots, gust 15. Visibility 4 at miles. Sky clear. Temperature 27. Dew point 5 and sun. Altimeter 3008.
3008. right. So what we did is this is automated weather observation service. It's similar to ATIS, but it's just the weather station that's on the airport that automatically does weather updates and to broadcast it. Sounds just like it's in the same format, pretty much the same format as ATIS. To get pertinent information, you're flying in, you want to know what the weather is. Speaking of, let me go back to it and see what it's. We see the sky is clear, so never mind. But it gives you weather information as well as the altimeter. That airport is off to our left. Let's see. Okay, there's the. I think that's the airport right there. Yeah, I believe that's the airport right there. So this Deming has ASOS. That's also weather reporting. And what's their frequency? Okay, so 118.525. What's that, a 525? Yeah, 118.525. 118.525. So it's in green, so that should be, and I say in green, I'm looking at this. And 118.525, but I'm not getting in it. And it's no surprise that with all the small airports out here, you may not, this is like, in fact, I think this is listed as unattended. So I can see it not being there. It don't matter, but because we got the ATIS from the last one. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to, because we're going to need to be doing our descent, not yet, but coming up in a bit there. Shortly past this this next intersection, we're going to start our descent to parallel altitude. So we're going to go straight into runway 8. And then, you know, if we heard someone in the pattern, we'll do otherwise. But this is just to keep us from having to go downwind and all that. Alright, so it's doing that same thing across this Kearney fix. And this is where we're going to crank it down. We're going to chart it to about halfway in between. I'm just going to go for the altitude select. I'm going to crank it down. We'll give it a little bit more. So where we are is, yeah, here, this is about where we start our altitude down. So I'm going to crank down the, first put you forward here so that you can see what we're doing. Screen and call it. Now I'm going to zoom forward. I suspect that is that little spot out there. So I'm going to go ahead and Crank down the altimeter to altitude selected to 5314. So I'm telling it to descend at 500 feet a minute.
The Members Mountains off the left, the Florida's on the right, the town of Deming straight ahead, the runway's in my sight. I pull the power, start the descent, the air begins to slow. The DA50RG is ready for the final show. Hey, 2 hours 45 and I'm beginning my descent from 16,500 down to pattern altitude. The time I've spent in this cockpit, in this journey from the coast into the sand, has reminded me why flying is the best thing in this land. Hey, hey, the I-10 corridor is like a ribbon on the ground. It's guided travelers east and west since cars were first unbound. And I've been following this path for most of this whole flight, from San Diego's coastline to the New Mexico night. Hey, hey, KDMN is waiting, a 6,500-foot strip. The fuel truck standing by for a quick fill-up and trip. But I'm not done yet. This is just the first of three.
Got a descent rate of 800 feet a minute.
There's more adventure left
Keep
for
our
me.
speed up.
Hey, hey. Demons in the windshield, the gear is coming down. 3 hours almost done, and I'm the king of this small town.
Bring the power back some. Okay, approach fuel valve on normal. Rudder trim neutral. Just keep it on autopilot till within closer range. Park and brake release. Emergency fuel pump on. Approach briefing. Gonna land in straight in on runway 8. Good. Okay, flaps that's required. gear horn.
Automated weather observation.
There's the gear horn. Stall. Car flaps open. Already are. Power lever. Here's speed, VREF. So got a VREF speed that we're going to use. And that's going to be 90. Okay, go ahead and put my landing light on.
Land 230 degrees 7 knots. Visibility more than 10 miles. No significant cloud. Temperature 27. Dew point -1. Altimeter 30.
Okay, I see the runway, and I'm going to go ahead and come power back to 45%. And put in my first nostril flaps. Gear down. It's going to slow us down some. Okay, so I'm gonna do this the right way. Since I'm high, I'm actually going to enter the pattern the right way. That way I'm not dive bombing. Get my power back up to 45. Oh, oxygen, don't need it. Oxygen off. So what we're doing here is making a left 45. It specifies for the runway left 45. So I'm a little slow. Go ahead and bring it up some more power. Alright. Check again. Gas. Undercarriage. Mixture. Pop. Okay, turn base. Alright, momentarily lost sight of it. I know it was near the freeway, but it was way high earlier. Okay, high. So that's not the flaps. Go down. Okay, that's round the altitude it's supposed to be at now.
The runway's coming up ahead, the numbers on the news. Gear down, 3 green flaps are set, the final approach slows. Over the fence, the flare, the touchdown squeaking, I'm on ground. The DA50RG has brought me safe and sound. 3 hours, 15 minutes from the moment that I left, from San Diego's coastline to this landing. I'm not bereft. I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm ready for a break, but I'm also ready for the next leg that I'll have to make. The taxi to the fuel pump, the shutdown of the engine, the silence after 3 long hours, that's the part I'll mention. The prop stops turning, fans go quiet, I unbuckle and I breathe. This is what it feels like when a pilot takes his leave.
See that?
First leg done,
The aircraft has come to a complete stop.
2 more to go, from Deming to Pecos, and then the Florida show. But right now I'm sitting here, reflecting on the flight, and I'm glad you came along with me into the New Mexico night. Hey, hey. Yeah. and I call this a win.
I'm not sure if you noticed,
Signing
but
off.
this is my brake button as a workaround. My rudder pedals only. That doesn't explain the approach. That was kind of stable, then unstable at the end. My right brake is toe brake is not working, so I configured a button on my joystick. But initially the toe brake was not working at all. So I have a button on my joystick as a temporary button that does things like this, help me keep it on the center line. So using a rudder, but in tight turns especially, that's when it becomes a nuisance. Alright, I see some buildings up here. That's a long runway, understandably so. This is a high altitude airport. With us on the ground, look at the altitude. It shows 4,300 feet. So pattern altitude was 5,300, but I kind of underestimated. And I should have started my descent rate, lessons learned, right after that last checkpoint. I should have started my descent, but I waited. Put my flaps up. What should normally happen is, as soon as you clear the runway, you see crossing the active, so left, right, clear on the left, clear on the right. See, this is a run-up area. Alright, so I'm gonna go in here to GA ramp. So all airports, most airports anyway, they have a FBL or some form of it. So it'd be something like signature air or signature flight, or where you can go in and you can get all the services you need for your aircraft: fuel, water, oil, maintenance, rental car. They provide all the services. See the world famous Vision jet here. Alright, so I'm gonna slow it a little bit. And see that fuel truck. I'm gonna go, I think this is where I need to go. I need some gas. If there's a gas pump, I don't see a gas pump, but I see lots of fuel trucks. What does that say right there? I don't see where I can. What let's say Deming. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Since they have fuel trucks and no, yeah, they have fuel trucks. Okay. Parker brake on. Alrighty. Landing. Yep, did the landing checklist. Didn't do a go around. Should have. Alright, after landing, power lever, idle, P-dot, flaps up, P-dot, static off, emergency fuel pump off, emergency fuel pump off, yeah. De-ice off, didn't have it on, lights as required, and go ahead and turn the landing light off. Should have had the text light on, lights as required. Leave the strobe on until we should kill the engine. Okay, parking brakes set, did that already. Power lever, ground at least 2 minutes, ground idle 2 minutes, cowl flaps closed, avionics master off. Okay. Actually, I want to turn that right back on for 1 minute. I have something I need to do. I want to look at the gas. Let's see what we did. Balance that fuel. And we got 5 gallons per tank. So 10 gallons left. Not bad. We start with the full tank. And we ended with 5 gallons per tank. Yep, not bad. And I want to see that where that gauge lands. Yep, quarter tank. Oh, less than a quarter tank. Okay, so we have 5 gallons each tank, and we burn about 10 gallons, 8 gallons per hour or something like that. So we had about another hour of fuel. Not bad. Now I'll turn it off. Okay, avionics master off. Okay, engine master off. Okay, and lights off. Strobes no more. Electric master off. Okay, parking brakes off. I'm gonna leave them on here. What you would normally do is you would turn off the parking brakes, because if someone needs to tow the aircraft while you're away, and you have the aircraft locked up, they can't tow your aircraft. without, well, yeah, they can't tow it because your mains are locked, and they can't lift the mains up. Okay, P-duct cover set. All right, we're done. So let's recap on what we did. We flew from Montgomery Airfield on a long journey to Deming Municipal Airport, and that was how far did I say that was? That was 483 miles. And one thing I didn't do on this flight is write down the takeoff time, because it's real time on the simulator. So I did not write the takeoff time. That's important to do, because that, as trivia as that may seem, if you don't know when you left it off, you don't know how long you can stay aloft. So, you write it down 15 minutes later. Oh, I forgot to write down that. What was my off time? I think it was, maybe it was, you're already behind the airplane. So, as you see, we got 10 gallons of, this burns about 8 gallons an hour. And we have 10 hours there of fuel there. So we spent some time doing something that it burned more gas than it should have. Anyway, this is Chris with Pilot Savvy. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this flight, and for being patient on a long journey. Hopefully you enjoyed the journey,
Leave a thumbs up, subscribe now. Leave a comment and subscribe to Pilot Savvy, where aviation dreams come alive. Promoting safety and education through flight simulation for every enthusiast in every aviation nation. Important note, while we showcase the power of flight simulation, our videos are not a substitute for proper flight or ground training. Safety is paramount, always hire and FAAST certified flight instructor to ensure your safety and the safety of others. Any use of tools, equipment, or techniques shown is at your own risk.